It's the multiverse of madness. Whew. Actually, yeah, my local GameStop I found has the one that actually lights up and opens. I want to get that. It's like $60, which isn't much, but I'm good at savings. I have more than enough the savings to get it. I'm just like, do I really want to spend the money on it? Ooh, but I kind of do. Maybe like get it and do it for like the spoiler video, which I'll definitely do a spoiler video because it's a movie where you want to talk about the shit that's in there. But yeah, I mean, I had to wear my Eye of Agamotto, and I'm just gonna, yeah, actually, I might just take the still from this. Just, yeah. Or you know, get the magic orbs on there. Um, I was worried because it was actually the eye was actually dangling a little too far for the camera to see, but luckily I just kind of like it actually dangles down to there, which wouldn't have looked good. But fortunately, because the way this works, this entire strap is weighted. I can actually kind of flip it and like keep it there. It actually stays there pretty okay. But yes, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, a movie that I've been very excited to see. First off, I really enjoy that first Doctor Strange. I think that is actually one of the more underrated Marvel movies. Um, and I like the character of Doctor Strange. Like I've always liked the character in the comics, but I like Benedict's portrayal of the character. He is one of my favorite MCU heroes at the moment. I like the fact that he is arrogant, but he's also not beyond understanding when he's wrong or when he needs help or when he can't do something. He's a very flawed character who is very much aware of his flaws. And still tries to do the best he can. And plus, the magic stuff they do in the MCU is just cool. So now we have the Multiverse of Madness, which I will not go obviously into any spoilers. Anything I say or talk about is in the trailers. Keep that in mind. Trailers and TV spots are fair game. Those are out there. Those are there. So I am addressing anything and everything that I could in the trailers, minus maybe a few things that could lead to more spoilers. But my overall impression, I had a absolute blast with this movie. This is a fun, intense, like no joke, a little scary MCU film. Like it actually feels a little disconnected from the MCU because it's such a Sam Raimi film. This is Sam Raimi back to doing Sam Raimi. This is Sam Raimi back to like doing Drag Me to Hell, Evil Dead. Like this is as Sam Raimi as you could get, and if you're a Sam Raimi fan, you're gonna love that. Um, I Before I get into just gush more about the positives, let me get a couple of the few minor issues I had out of the film because it's not a perfect film. No film is perfect. Even Endgame, which I love, is not perfect. Or even some of the more closer to perfect MCU films, or whatever. And perfect is a subjective term, but I will say it did feel a little rushed at first in the beginning. Like where we start off with an action sequence. I will say you see part of the beginning of the movie in the trailer. And in fact, I believe this has actually already come out. So this is it opens with American Chavez, who is the character, the girl in the movie who could travel through the multiverse, and an alternate version of Strange, Defender Strange, trying to get this MacGuffin known as the Book of Ashanti, which is like the opposite to the Darkhold, which we do know, which we've learned exists. We've seen it. Wanda had it in her possession last we saw. And then we go really quick into an action sequence from there. A little bit of story set up for Strange, and then into the action sequence with the giant. And I know the creature has a name, but the giant squid monster. And then we go from there. And it really felt quick beat. It isn't until Strange goes to see Wanda that the pacing of the film finally seemed to kind of steady itself out. So yeah, I will say it felt a little rushed at points, like in the film, and really just in the beginning. There was something else that I will say this. Manage your expectations to a degree. There are obviously cameos because we're dealing with the multiverse and characters, and obviously the Illuminati are in the film. And who is on the Illuminati? You know of at least 3. Actually, technically, you know at least 4 of them. Oh wait, do you? Yeah, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, actually, technically, you know at least 4 of them because you know Mordo's a part of the Illuminati. So that's not a spoiler. It's pretty much shown he is a part of the Illuminati. You know Professor X is in there thanks to the trailer. The TV spots, and we know there's a Captain Marvel variant, and the TV spots showed Captain Carter too. So we know that they're there. I will not say who the other members of the Illuminati are. I will say this. While managing your expectations, that was a big squee moment. There's a good couple of big squee moments in the odds. Our audience was, my girlfriend put it best, our audience was having a great time, but they were also kind of awkward in the film too, because this is probably the last thing I'll say that is kind of a negative, but not even for me, but for the movie as a whole, is that this is the closest you're ever going to get to a true horror film in the Marvel Universe. And my God, did they lean into the Sam Raimi Evil Dead horror, drag me to hell roots in this? Because my God, it gets creepy, messed up. There are things that happen where you go, holy shit, like that, like, oh God, like it gets, oh God. I mentioned to my friend and my girlfriend, because we all saw it together, I'm like, said character is nightmare fuel in this movie. Like a character in this movie is pure, unadulterated nightmare fuel a little bit. But because of that, it is not going to be for everyone. I heard some stories about some people who like brought their kids, and the kids were a little traumatized from the experience. Like, holy crap. Now, to be fair, like we as kids, I remember back in like the 80s and 90s. I mean, I grew up in the 90s, but I'm a kid in the 90s, but I was born in the 80s actually. Tail end of it, but I was still born in it. Where we could watch scary stuff and generally be okay for it. I hope today's kids are able to handle that. Like they should be able to handle that. But unfortunately, different parenting styles, different ways of raising your kids. I don't know. But the fact that it is it's a solid horror film, will hurt it as well. But with that said, I ultimately love this film. I really did love this film. It is creepy, but it's got humor to it too. Like there's just some funny lines that are said. No one steals from Papa Pizza. Which that's more about what's going on in that scene than anything else. Mordo's, I understand why my other version hated you. Nick Cage smooch is good. No, that's not in there. I'd love for it to be. Did you know that Nick Cage smooch is good? I mean, there are one-liners that are like badass one-liners too. Benedict Cumberbatch is great. You can tell he's having fun playing his variant selves. There's a fight between him and one of his variants that is so epically creative that it's just like, this is the entirety of the fight. And I'm like, I'm here for it. That is so uniquely interesting to deal with or to handle. There's the stuff dealing with the Illuminati, which was a lot of fun. And then there's the stuff with Wanda, and that's the thing I wanted to say for last. So it's pretty obvious from the trailer, for the first trailer, not so much. From the second trailer, you get more of that impression, and then from the TV spots, you clearly get a very strong impression of what Wanda's role in the film is. Now, I will still won't truly spoil it, but it's very clear that at minimum, she's an antagonistic force in the movie. And holy crap, Elizabeth Olsen is amazing in this film, because her arc in this film is the true end of where she kind of started in WandaVision, of what happened, because this is like a direct follow-up for her from WandaVision. And if you know how WandaVision ended, then you know where she kind of ended up. And yeah, she's doing stuff in this movie where you go, oh yeah, this is why the Scarlet Witch is to be feared. And she has a scene near the end that reminds me, I mean, I didn't like Jessica Jones seasons 1, 2, or 3 very much at all. I like season 1 okay, mostly because of Kilgrave. David Tennant's awesome. I just don't like the Jessica Jones character, but I particularly don't like the character of Trish. I think she's designed specifically not to be liked or likable. But further to the point, but there's a scene at the end involving Trish in season 3 of Jessica Jones, and if you've seen Jessica Jones season 3, you know what I'm talking about, where a realization for Trish happens. And it's something very similar here in Doctor Strange. And it's such a beautifully acted scene that I can't help but applaud like the acting on Elizabeth Olsen's part for that. It is so wonderfully acted. Yeah, for me anyway, it hit all the right chords. I will say, like how I mentioned earlier, temper your expectations a little bit when it comes to the Multiverse of Madness. That is one thing I will say that I kind of am like, I want more. There's a scene in the trailer that kind of just crashed through a bunch of universes at once. But in terms of going through the multiverse, we only go to a couple universes. And in terms of variants, we do see variants. We get cameos. But it's actually not as many as you might think for a movie dubbed this title. I don't think the Multiverse of Madness, honestly, was maybe the best title. I mean, it's not a terrible title. It's a great title. It's just, is it a misleading title? To it, like if using a scale of 1 out of 10, if 10 is like, yes, we're going through the multiverse. Oh my God, the madness! Oh, how many universes? Look at all the people. And 1 is like, we never even went to the multiverse. This is definitely on the upper side of that scale, like maybe a 6 or 7. But when you get a movie title called Multiverse of Madness, you're expecting an 8, 9, or 10. So yeah, it's a little. It was a little unfortunate with that there, I guess. There are 2 post-credit sequences. They're fine. They actually don't really set up. But that's another thing. You would expect a movie like this to set up the long-term MCU at least a little bit, or at least give some context. And there's stuff that I'll probably talk about in the spoiler review that gives me hints about how they're going to do things. But like the first post-credit scene is fine, and it's cool to see what we saw. The second one's more of a Captain America at the end of Spider-Man Homecoming. It's like expectations, the match. How many more of these we got? Yeah, yeah. It's more like that. It's a humorous one, or Game Master at the or Grandmaster, sorry, the Grandmaster at the end, Thor Ragnarok. All right, our partner Rebellion. What do we call the draw? It's a humorous one. And it's funny. It is funny, but yeah, I despite the gripes I have, and I have some gripes, I thoroughly enjoyed this movie. I would say at least go out and see it once just to get your opinion on it. If you've been on the fence or leaning, I'd say at least give it a shot. I don't know 100% it's going to be for you, because it's not going to be for everyone. I can say that right now wholeheartedly. It will not be for everyone. But that doesn't mean it still won't be enjoyable for a lot of people. And the majority of people, by the way, are liking it. Let me actually get the Rotten Tomato score up here real quick. Last I checked, it was at 78% critic. And it is down to 76. I mean, it's obviously gonna stay positive, I think. Yeah, 287. It's probably gonna, at best, it might go up or down by another point. But it's got 89% with the audience, sorry, and that's where your money lies. So if 89% of the audiences are liking this, and this is over 2,500 verified ratings, people who actually you can confirm went to see the film, then yeah, I think this film's going to be in good hands, and I can't wait to see what the box office is going to look like this week. So anyway, that is my thoughts on Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. Until then, thanks for watching. I will probably do my spoiler review Sunday, because I'll have the day off and I'll have the time to do it. So until then, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.